So, Chris, I had somebody ask me the other day, just how is it that you and I have stayed together for over 30 years?
It's a nice question.
I thought so too. And my answer to them was we enjoy bantering back and forth with each other.
Uh-huh.
We love our quirkiness.
Yep.
We don't take ourselves too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And we live full time in an Airstream.
Absolutely.
But it got me to thinking, how would you answer that question?
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, okay. I like easy.
Yeah. So the first 10 years, you were right. And then the second 10 years, you were right again.
Watch it now.
And then the third 10 years, I was wrong.
Well, you got that right.
It's The Riveted with Chris and Gina.
So you really think I'm right, baby?
Yes. 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 So Gina,
yes.
I'm beginning to believe that we should only do podcast recordings in the evenings.
Why? So that we can have a drink while we're doing it?
Well, it's cool lighting. We're kind of chill, and we got
it really is.
We have a nice little thing to sip on, and it's laid back. It's casual.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
I do
Today's
too.
the perfect day for it because the sun's not blaring. It's very, very nice.
Yeah, I mean, we could duplicate this, I guess, in other parts of the day. We just have to put the blinds down, and it wouldn't be the same.
No, that's boring.
Yeah, I know. Well, anyway, I like these evening recordings.
So let's just start making it a goal of ours to start doing them all in the evening.
Well, we'll try. It's ultimately up to our guest schedule,
yes,
and
it is.
We accommodate all schedules.
Yes, and our guest today picked this time.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is great.
So thank you, guest.
Yeah, thank you, guest. So speaking of our guest, we have a really interesting gentleman that he reached out to us, and he said he wanted to participate in the podcast, which is awesome. That's what we
love.
We encourage all listeners to do that because everybody's got an awesome story. But what was interesting about it, he was like, it's not that interesting of a story, nothing major, but it is life changing. And so I'm thinking, okay, so I got to talk to this. We got to talk to this guy.
Because if he doesn't have a story, but yet it's life-changing, it's going to be phenomenal, right?
Well, it's just going to be great anyway. But we're excited to have Mr. Bill Biland from the great state of Michigan.
Wait, you got to say that one more time. You got to use your announcer voice because this is the perfect name for it.
It kind of is.
Yeah, do it. Do it. Have you got your little echo thing?
No, I don't want to.
Come on. You can't do the famous announcer voice?
Well, I guess I could try.
Try it.
I don't think it's going to work.
Try it. Hold on, Bill. We're coming to you.
It's okay. Here we go. Let's see what happens.
Let's do it. You can do it, Chris.
I have a little bit of an echo.
All right, do it.
All right, here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Bill Biland on the podcast with us tonight, all the way from the wonderful state of Michigan. Bill Biland. That almost sounds like it could be like.
All right, you're not supposed to talk through it the whole time.
Bill Biland, Bill Biland, please come to the front desk. Or Bill Biland, you're wanted at the register, please.
Bill, thanks for being a good sport and letting us play.
I like his name. So welcome to The Riveted with Chris and Gina, Bill.
Thank you both. I'm catching my breath from laughing. So.
Yeah, it's an evening podcast record.
Okay, but let's fill the listener in for just a quick second, and that is that we were talking to Bill as we started the recording, and Chris made the comment about how his name sounded like so professional and like an announcer kind of name, right?
Well, yes. And I asked him to clarify how to pronounce it because if I would have pronounced it, I would have totally did it wrong.
Oh, that's your Southern.
And then when he pronounced it, I was like, oh, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we had to play, and thank you, Bill, for letting us do that.
Yes. Yep. So
of course.
We are so happy to have you on today.
So, Bill, where are you right now? You're in Michigan, but upper UP or central or south, or where are you?
I am in the southeast Metro Detroit area.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Nice.
Yep. And
Detroit, they're famous for something, right?
Well,
I can't think off the top of my head, but
just a few things, automobiles, music.
oh, right.
And Bill Biland.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm destined.
Very nice.
Yes.
Bill, we're glad to have you, and thanks for putting up with our shenanigans. We appreciate you reaching out to us and wanting to participate, and we love chatting with anybody that is got a passion for Airstream, and it's obvious you do from the little bit we've chatted. So tell us, and just we always like to start by asking like what your entry point was, kind of origin story, so to speak, of what caused you to have an Airstream in your life now.
Sure. My son went off to college in 2022. I'm a single parent, so I raised him on my own, and every moment went to him, and no regrets on that.
Awesome.
When he went off to college, I wanted to get back into camping. We were fortunate, my siblings and I, to camp growing up early on, and always had good memories of that. So I bought a teardrop that summer, and my sister bought one, my cousin bought one, and we would go camping, the three of us together. And a teardrop basically is a mattress on wheels. And it was fun. But my sister and I were at a park. It was in fall, and it was like a monsoon weekend of weather. So I'm laying in this little teardrop, the whole thing's shaking. I have two dogs sitting by me, and I'm like, I think I want something a little bit bigger. So the next day I start looking, and I realized that they still make Airstreams. I just always thought when I would pass one on the road that it was old. So I went to the dealer and, of course, fell in love with it right away. And I bought a 20-foot Caravel. And I spent a season in that. And I was always challenged with backing in, and I would get a little stressed towing. So I thought after one season, I wanted to switch to the range line that Airstream came out with. It's the drivable van.
Oh, I think you might be our first guest that ever had one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess I'm jumping the gun. Did you get it? Sorry.
I did buy it in March, and I went back to the dealer in June, and I said, this isn't working for me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. Because of the size, or?
It was a combination. There were some quirks, I think, that Airstream still hadn't worked out with the mechanics of the system.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was, I'm 6'1", and it was a little snug inside. So my dealer is great to work with. And so they got me out of my range line and into a 25-foot Flying Cloud, double axle. And I have, in the time of having this, become really comfortable towing, very comfortable backing it in. And I think third time's a charm. Like, I even put my BRN numbers on it.
Yay.
Like, that's a commitment. I figure put a ring on it. So
I like it.
Yeah, I was always apprehensive because I like the look of an Airstream without the BRNs.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's just something about, I don't know, it solidifies it a bit more with the BRN.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was the time frame that transpired? Like, when did you switch from the range line to the Flying Cloud? Was that this summer, or this season, or last season, or when?
That was last season,
Okay.
June
All
of
right, gotcha.
24. So I had the range line just for 2 months.
Yeah.
And then it's almost a year that I've had my Flying Cloud.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
you're digging it, right? You really like it?
Every time I look at it, I just feel so grateful.
Yep.
Every time I'm in it, I just feel grateful that I can do this.
Yeah. And what's your son think?
So he's away at college, and, at this point in his life, he's not that interested.
He doesn't care.
So I did ask him recently, I'm like, will you go camping with me once this summer? He's like, yeah, that's not really my thing.
Oh.
So I traveled a few months, and then that fall, after I bought my Caravel, I started looking on Google. I thought, was wondering if there were any clubs I could join. Then a whole new world opened up. Then I learned about Airstream Club International, and then Southeastern Michigan Airstream Club, which I'm part of. And then I went to a rally. Now I'm on the board. I've made friends. I totally drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Well,
Don't we all?
yeah. The unit that you have now, what was the compelling reason why you got that one? Like that particular model? What was it you liked the most about it?
Even though I'm a solo traveler, I like the twin beds in the front.
Oh.
Because there's that little extra floor space. And for me, I don't fill it up with things, but more space if I want to store things or go on a longer trip at some point.
Yeah.
Now, do you travel alone?
That is correct. Yep. I'm a solo traveler, me and my pets.
And your pets. Okay.
Yeah. We're quite the crew.
Well, I guess that other twin is a built-in bed for the pets.
Yeah.
Well, why would they sleep there if they could push me out of my bed?
Oh.
One of those deals. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, if my son ever caves and goes camping, then he's got a spot to sleep. So
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a buddy that he bought a Winnebago van, kind of like that Rangeline, but Winnebago, and it had twin beds in it. And he was a former military guy, and that other twin was full of different bags and sacks and backpacks and all this kind of stuff. Like that was essentially his wardrobe almost, and he had it all in different bags.
Mm-hmm.
And
he was very organized.
Extremely organized, yeah. And so each bag meant a different thing, and that he just put them on that other twin, and it actually made a lot of sense,
Yeah.
And
that it does come in handy. This past week, I was co-hosting a rally in Traverse City, and my friend Anna, she's second VP in the club, we co-hosted together, and she loaded all of the prizes for the raffles and games on that twin bed. So it came in handy having that extra space, a lot of storage.
Yeah. And, I guess in a way you could almost use it like an additional couch if you're solo. I mean, you can use the space however you want, but
however they won't. Imagine that.
Why are you looking at me so sternly when you say that?
Well, because you said it. You said he could use it however he wanted.
Well, of course, because it's his.
Absolutely.
But you asked that with emphasis, like I
didn't ask. I said that with emphasis, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Like you're trying to prove a point to me.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
Now I want to know what that is.
Yeah. Well, it's.
We only have one bed.
Well, we only need one bed.
The way you sleep, we might need 2 or 3.
At least for now. I guess I better straighten up, or we might end up needing 2 beds. I might need a bed.
Oh, we have a couch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're sleeping on the couch or dinette tonight.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we don't have a dinette. We took that out, but we do have a huge L-shaped couch. I guess L-shaped, isn't it? L-shaped couch.
Yeah.
In here.
So, tell us about the rally that you just
It sounds like
hosted.
It was so much fun.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons why, and I think we've mentioned this on the podcast, but one of the reasons Gina and I are doing this podcast is because we, as full-time RVers, the way we travel and we're not always in the same area for any length of time, we never have been in a position to volunteer for the club, leadership, or just hosting rallies. And so we never have done that. And doing this podcast is just kind of one of our ways to give back a little bit to the Airstream community. But
introduce people.
Yeah, but I would assume that hosting a rally would be a lot of fun. I'm sure it's work, but it's probably a lot of fun too.
It is a lot of fun. Our president, Steve Rowley of the club, he will set these up a year ahead, and then come January, I guess, he'll ask who wants to help co-host. So we want to get the members as involved and the board as involved as possible in the club.
Mm-hmm.
So rally is hosted or co-hosted by other people.
So like you kind of set the agenda for that particular one. You and your helper or co-host, y'all decided what was going to happen?
Yes. Steve picked the place, and this was Silver on Silver Lake. It is a rally that one year Southeastern Michigan Airstream Club, also called CMAC, we host it. And then the next year MAC or Michigan Airstream Club will host it. So we try to be involved in that, both clubs. So we have members from each club participate.
So how big is that rally?
This year we had 27 rigs, so about 54 people.
Mm-hmm.
And it sold, it reserved. We released the dates January 1st, and within a week or two, it was already full.
Oh, that's good.
We were happy about that. And we'll have an itinerary of suggested things to go on, excursions, or this is a winery region. So there were things like that the guests could do. And campfires at night, group dinners.
Yeah.
And it always goes, I'm finding it goes back to like friendship, camaraderie, togetherness, and everyone's friendly. Like,
yeah.
We're not best friends, but we're all friendly and we all enjoy each other's company.
Right.
No matter if it's a first timer or.
Well, it's because you have something in common.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
exactly.
Did you guys have a one campfire at night for the whole rally attendees, or were there several smaller ones throughout the rally that different people went to?
One per night.
Yeah.
And we had good turnouts. The ring of chairs kept getting moved back and moved back.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I asked.
Like to do
that's why I asked the question, because we've noticed there's been a handful of rallies we've gone to where they don't do one campfire for the whole rally. It's people will have different ones, at different rigs for different groups of friends, but like one centralized campfire. We haven't been to one in a while that's been that way, and I think that's a key component to a rally myself.
We like it like that.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With the new ACI app, if you're traveling through an area and you could look up a rally and swing by kind of last minute.
Yeah.
I like that app.
That thing's it's going to be a game changer, I think. I mean, there's a lot of cool features that it's got, and if anybody that's listening to this podcast is not aware of it yet, it's less than a month old, or maybe a little more than a month old, and it's got some really cool features to it.
An email should have gone out to everyone, right?
Oh yeah, they made a formal announcement and all that good stuff, but it's really
so
neat.
If you don't have it, listener, go download it, because it is a phenomenal app, and it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, it will.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, we had a gentleman from California attend our rally.
You let him in? What'd you let him in for?
We're very welcoming. Anyone's welcome.
Yeah.
We had a cancellation. This was probably 2-3 days before the rally. Someone had to cancel. And within a half hour, I got an email from Stube out in California. I don't know his BRN, but he asked if we had any openings. I said, it's your lucky day. So that was really cool to have him and meet him and get to know him.
Yeah.
And he found it through the app.
He did.
Yeah. See, that's great.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And was he traveling solo?
He was. His wife was out of the country, so he was out on the road traveling around.
Yeah. How about that? Sounds like your first two Airstreams you didn't have for very long, and then now you've got this Flying Cloud. What's your travel style like? I mean, do you stay close around your area, or you venture out, and get across the country in it, or have plans for that? Is it still that fresh and new?
Right now, I am working. I am self-employed, so I like to get my travel schedule on the books for the year, and then my clients can book around that. So, for example, I can take a trip. If I want to take a week off of work, I'll just work more before and after the trip. So I do try to stay in the state, or maybe down in Ohio. West Virginia was my furthest trip.
Right.
We are talking about a caravan out to Minot, North Dakota for International of 26.
Yeah.
And we might do a 3-week, and that would be the most time I've ever traveled. But I think I'm going to set a goal for that.
Good.
I think.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, we and I don't know, based on where you're at, it might be, better for you to go, just due west or whatever. But I know we were up in your area in 2020, the summer of 2020, and we went up into the UP and then went out the UP west into Wisconsin and Minnesota and stuff around the bottom of Lake Superior, and then went into North Dakota that way. And that was a really fun route. I mean, it was a beautiful route, and getting over into North Dakota that way.
That is the route we're looking to take.
Yeah,
there.
That was Highway 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, Highway 2.
Sorry about that, Bill.
Nope.
Yep.
Our Steve, our president, is working on that. He's pretty good with laying out caravans, but it would be up through the UP, through Wisconsin, which the UP, it is beautiful, and parts of Wisconsin I've been to, so I'm anxious to see more of those areas of the country.
Yeah. The only thing, of course, I guess it's everybody in Michigan, I'm sure, is perfectly fine with this, but I guess the only part about going that route I just described is that you got to cross over that damn bridge. Going over into the UP, that's a challenging bridge.
I think after you've done it for a few times, that you get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable crossing that.
Gina's making a face at me like I'm a wimp, but it was
that bridge was fine. We had no trouble. It was just like any bridge we'd ever crossed.
Well, I know, but there were people. I mean,
there was people. What?
It told me that it was a
that's
major
what they told
significant
you.
bridge. And
do you believe everything you were told?
It was tall and windy.
It was a tall tale.
Yeah.
I think it's 6 miles long.
Wow.
The weird part is on the bridge, the Mackinac Bridge, when you're driving over it, it's graded.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
That you can look down when you're driving, but to see the water.
Yeah.
That's the part. Yeah, I don't like that part.
Why?
I don't like barely a little bit of stuff being between me and what's underneath. I like a lot of stuff between me and what's underneath.
What are you doing with your hand there?
Like I'm making a point
making stuff.
Yeah.
I wish you could see his hand, Bill. It's like he's balling up stuff. I don't know.
It's stuff going through the grates and falling down.
Oh gosh. Help me out here, Bill.
Okay.
I want to ask you what, if you don't mind, if you don't want to answer it, you can say no, but do you mind telling us what your job is, your career?
Yep. I followed a childhood passion of mine. I am a hairstylist.
Oh, great.
Since I was, early teenager, it's just something that I always wanted to do.
Yes.
And I have been doing it for 35 years.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I love it every single day I go to work. For all of this time. And again, I feel very grateful for that. It never feels like work.
Yeah. Boy, doing it that long, I could only imagine that. Your clientele is huge.
Again, I'm grateful for that. I have my very first client ever all these years later.
Wow.
My clients are loyal and supportive, and they put up with me adjusting their appointments if I'm going to travel or go camping. So,
well, that's fun. I bet it was fun to tell them about your Airstream.
It was. And, a couple of clients, they know me real well, so they can give me a hard time.
Yeah.
Like, what am I being bumped? Did you get a good camping spot? I'm like, exactly.
You need to.
Yeah.
You need to take that other twin bed out and then put a stylist chair in that spot, and then you can have a mobile styling studio.
I like it. A mobile salon.
Yes. I don't think it has crossed my mind.
Yeah.
I think that would work.
That'd be awesome.
Chris and I would be a client.
All right. We would just have to coordinate and meet up.
Yes, absolutely.
Gina doesn't like to talk about this. Well, it's not that she doesn't like to talk about it, because it's just been so many, many years ago.
What are you going to say?
Many, many years
What are you saying? You better watch it. Your couch is getting better and better for you.
Well, Gina has been a licensed cosmetologist for
hush.
Over
don't say how
35
long.
to 40 years.
Oh yeah.
She hasn't been practicing it for many, many years, but right out of training and those first few years, she was killing it. She was a platform artist for Redken, and she was working down in some of the top places down in the big city of Charlotte, where we're originally from, and she was having a big time. And
I was young and full of energy.
Yeah, you were. And So, okay, since we're on the subject, I'll go ahead and tell this quick little story. And I know I know it's not an Airstream
No,
story.
Bill will back me up here.
Oh, I know he'll back me up. He'll back you up.
will back me
No,
up.
he'll back you up, but I'm going to tell the story.
Yes.
I know it has nothing to do with Airstream, but it's one of those significant life-altering stories for Gina and I, is that the very first time Gina gave me a haircut, and granted, you know, we've been together a long time, so I was young and definitely not trained yet. And so she was cutting my hair.
Are you saying I trained you?
And, you know, the full on deal. I was in her chair, the drape was on, the mirrors, the whole 9 yards, you know, like I was at her booth, and she was cutting my hair, and she spun me around to look in the mirror.
That's not true. You've already messed up, because I always cut towards the mirror. I didn't spin you anywhere.
Okay, well, anyway, you said, okay, what do you think? And I told her I thought that it was still a little too long right on the crown of my head. And so she did a little bit more, and then she said, okay, how about that? And I said, no, I said, it's still a little too long on the crown of my head. And she says, well, anything shorter and it's not going to look good. And I said, no, I said, I think it just needs to be a little shorter. And she says, I don't know. Why would you want it shorter? I don't think it would look good. And I literally said, let me show you. And I took the scissors out of her hand and I cut my hair myself right in front of her down to the length that I thought it needed to be.
Which was at the scalp.
And that was a bad idea. That was a really bad idea.
Did you know each other at that point?
Oh yeah, we had already slept together and everything. And yeah, and we
Thanks for sharing that.
We were dating and everything. And
all right, wait.
You would have thought her face and her reaction to what I did was as if I had smacked her.
Oh, you did.
And
okay, hush, zip it. It's Bill's time to talk.
Okay.
Okay, Bill.
Funny. So why did you get out of it, Gina?
Oh no, that's not what you're supposed to be talking about, Bill. You're supposed to be backing me up with Chris.
Mm-hmm. So I'll just say this, that there was some mild yelling and fussing, and
it was very mild, and I walked out and left you there, I think.
Very noticeable slap on the wrist. And to this day, if I were to say a word about how she's cutting my hair, we go right back to that moment. And that moment has been over 35 years ago. And
so you don't say anything.
I don't say nothing.
No.
I don't say
trained properly.
Yeah, there was a few years, about 10 or 15 years ago, there was a few years that I was traveling a bunch and I was having to get my hair cut by, you know, like a Great Clips or something like that, just while I was on the road. But pretty much every haircut I've had my entire life since I've been with Gina, she's done it. And yeah, I don't, after that first one, I know that anytime we are out, you know, she's cutting my hair outside, like at a campsite.
Mm-hmm. Now listen to this, Bill.
Yeah. No. Well, what do you think I'm going to say?
Well, go ahead. I think you're going to say the right thing.
No, anytime she's cutting my hair outside, and people are walking by, always, 100% of the time, they're like, I'm next. I'm next. Yeah.
See?
Can I get in line? You know?
See, Bill could do this. He could hit the road doing this.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little side gig on the road.
Yes. They do. They really do come up and ask.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, the convenience of that and the novelty of it.
Yeah.
In a state park, a campground, there's going to be a long line of people.
Mm-hmm. And as long as you're just doing haircuts, you can do it outside. But, you know, if you have other things to do, you have to do it in. But anyway, it's a lot of fun.
Birds can make a nest out of the hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you know, there's some kind of weird superstition about that.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, like if the birds, like if you put the hair out and the birds pick it up, then you go crazy and all that kind of stuff. You don't know all those superstitions?
No, I don't know that.
Oh, yeah, you need to learn all about that. But to answer your question,
we're getting off topic.
I know, but to answer your question, Bill, Chris and I were going to open up a spa in my hometown, and this is after years of doing hair and stuff. But before we had the blueprints, we had the land, everything was figured out until I decided that I wanted to know every aspect of that spa before I opened it. So I wanted to know, of course, I already knew how to do the hair and the facials and the nails and all that kind of stuff, but I wanted to learn the massage and the wraps and all the stuff that we were going to do. So I found a school to go to for all of that, and my world changed. So I got out of doing hair and went the whole massage and holistic healthcare route. And so we ended up opening a holistic healthcare center instead of a spa salon combo.
Yeah.
And then we had that for 20 some years. And then,
but the same prerequisite for me on the massage stuff is if she's giving me a massage, I can't say anything about the massage.
No.
It's nothing.
You don't speak or you don't get one.
I don't say anything.
No, just
about
sleep.
The pressure or anything. It's nothing. It's like,
you've been trained well.
I have now.
He has.
Yeah.
And that training, that training applies to all parts of my life across all spectrums of what we do together.
Exactly. But that was a very smart thing to do, Gina, with going to learn all of that, what goes into a spa or a business like that.
Right.
And then look how that turned you into a different direction, and then going the holistic route and the massage therapy.
Yes. Totally took me a different way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sure did.
Yeah. It's so much so that we had, our center had a round table, is what we called it. It was the round table effect. So we had a chiropractor and an herbalist and an iridologist and a naturopath, energy workers, massage therapist, of course. And so we did all of this, and then we would help that individual, as a panel. We'd all sit down and discuss what they needed and helped them out. The only problem was we were about 20 years ahead of our time, really. 'Cause,
in this area, absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine that now.
Yeah, they didn't know what to do with us. They loved us, but they weren't sure what to do with us. But it was a lot of fun.
I think that
we had a good time.
I think that a mobile massage therapy Airstream would be awesome.
Are you going to buy one?
Like if
Let's do it.
There's enough space, especially in the bedroom area of a lot of these rigs, that you could. I mean, you wouldn't be able to have anything else in there but a massage table. But think about like the mobile aspect of.
Just take that whole bed area out and
or,
have that like
or
the massage room.
Yeah, or vice versa. I mean, think about how cool of a stylist area you could build in a one end of an Airstream. Mm-hmm.
I think Chris is onto something, Gina.
Yeah, for
both of us.
Yeah.
You could do it on either end. You could have
we could go in together. Who's going to pull it?
Or do we get two Airstreams?
No, we have to have two Airstreams.
No, think about it. You could have the styling area in the front by the entry door. You could have the massage area in the back for the bedroom.
Okay.
Or vice, depending on the floor plan.
Instead of the bedroom.
And then you got the bathroom in the middle. I mean, it wouldn't be a camping Airstream. I mean, there's tons of people that repurpose Airstreams, but think about having those two different spaces in that Airstream.
Yes, but what Bill is asking, Chris, is we would have a separate Airstream. Who's going to drive that Airstream? And then we would always have to be together in order to run it.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you just have just like gypsies. You just travel like gypsies.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
I am a
nomad
gypsy.
is the future.
Let's do it.
That's right.
I like it.
It's awesome.
No, interesting. I'm going to make a little comparison here, Gina, how you were a stylist and you wanted to know more about how a spa was run. So you made a choice I want to go learn about this, and it changed directions and it kind of changed your life.
Right.
And okay, I drank the Kool-Aid, but it's kind of like the Airstream. Like, I'm going to buy an Airstream. I think I'm going to join a club. And then it
changed your life.
It changed my life.
Yeah.
I've friends, I've traveled, even like the two of you doing the podcast and living, full time.
It is a great point of comparison, like you're saying, and you're exactly right. We all are traveling the roads, wherever we're going, and there's a lot of people the different analogies of, well, you come to a fork in the road, which way do you go? You're going to find something different on either fork, those kind of things, and it is one of the main compelling reasons why we have this podcast is because everybody that adds an Airstream to their life is going to get some positive benefit from it. I mean, we don't talk a lot about so far we haven't talked a whole lot about negatives or people complaining about things or anything like that. Most all of our episodes have been geared towards the positive, which is what we were going for. But I think even with some of the negatives that might happen from trailer to trailer or struggles or whatever, the positives outweigh it, 10
Agreed.
to 1. And the experiences that you have and will continue to have by having an Airstream are worth it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely. One of the reasons I like your podcast, from what you're saying, is for the people on the road, and it's another avenue to build like a sense of community amongst the
Yes.
Airstreamers.
Yes.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
and I feel like the culture, if that's what I'll call it, of Airstream, it's like an inch wide and mile deep.
Mm-hmm.
The history of it, and the Wally Byam Creed, for example, and how all of that still plays into Airstreaming.
For sure.
It absolutely does. And it's a beautiful thing that we can come together as a community and help each other. And, we're just all living our best lives, right?
And I wonder how many people, when they first buy their Airstream, think that, like, oh, we're just going to go out on the road.
Yeah.
And then, like your example, that happens and you get immersed in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I mean, I think it would take, there's something going on with the brand, with the community, for an individual like yourself to go from, a teardrop to a couple different Airstreams. Now he's on his third, and in pretty short order is already, volunteering at the club level and hosting rallies. Like you picked up on all of the cool stuff that comes from being around Airstream and the community, and then it's
a contagious vibe.
Yeah.
It is.
That's a great way to describe it.
It is. It's a contagious vibe.
Yeah. Some people describe it as Illuminatus or whatever, which is kind of a funny phrase, unique phrase, but I like what you just said right there, Gina.
Thank you. Let's trademark it. A contagious vibe.
Contagious vibe.
Oh, we should name our travel business that.
Oh, I like that. Bill, did you know coming on our podcast today that we were going to go in business together?
How about that?
Well, my lawyer will send the paperwork over.
Sounds perfect. All right. I like it.
Contagious vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm digging that.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah, I like that better than Illuminitis. It doesn't sound like a disease.
Illuminitis sounds like a disease. It does. An inflammatory disease. Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definite human connection that happens when you meet somebody that also has an Airstream. Whether you're a member of the club or not, you meet somebody that owns an Airstream, you own an Airstream. There's some human connection there that happens that we've experienced numerous times in all different parts of the country, and it's
we have our moments though. We have our moments when we just kind of go off and we're quiet for a little bit.
I wonder, when you were talking about the connection that people have, Airstreamers, whether you're in a club or not, like, is that like that with some other brands, or as we call them, the SOBs? Like, I'm sure there's clubs, but
I think that there's some common bond between anybody that's got the same brand, whether it's in RVing or maybe even automobiles or boats or motorcycles. I mean, I think there could be some commonality bond there.
I would think so.
But I believe, just having been around this brand for as long as I have, that you not only have the commonality of ownership, but the unique styling, the unique design, the history.
The history's a big part.
All of that combined creates this energy around an Airstream travel trailer that causes people to have a different level of common bond.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe, a Harley Davidson maybe might have that because of its, uniqueness and longevity. And I'm sure there's other things out there, but I just think in the RVing space, I don't think anything else would come close.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And I don't know if you ever wonder or think, like, what would Wally Byam think back then if he knew what that would turn into? Or what this would turn into.
Yeah. And he was just a visionary in everything that he did. So obviously I'm sure had like a huge vision of where he wanted the brand to go. But like, what's coming out of the factory now, the styling, I mean, like this new Frank Lloyd Wright design and
man, that thing is sexy.
Some of these other things. I mean, it is, granted, some of that's got to do with technology changes on, how they can put things together and just lots of different, nowadays kind of changes that are different from the way it was back when he was around. But still, it's one of those iconic American brands that, is just, I don't know that he would have realized how impactful it became to the United States.
Yeah,
or to the world for that matter.
He passed on way too young.
Yeah.
I hate that he didn't get to be around longer. So, Bill, I have a question because we're talking about all the history and Wally and stuff. Have you had the chance to go to the mothership, as they call it, and to the Heritage Center?
I have not yet. I would like to go there this fall.
You need a couple of days in that Heritage Center at least, because you'll want to listen to the recordings because they have Wally in recordings and other things too that you'll want to hear.
Yeah, if you really want to immerse yourself into it, you need a day, the majority of a day just to kind of enjoy the visual part of it, and then another block of time on a different session to really immerse yourself into all the specific
there
details.
Is so much there. There's so much. And and they've got it set up for you to spend the day or 2 days in it because they know it's a lot to take in. But yeah, if you can get a chance to do that.
Everybody should do that.
And one thing I don't know is you didn't mention the the international rally this year, but right behind it, the first week of September, is going to be Palooza, and that's at the manufacturing facility. So that would be a great time to go if you get a chance. And then, of course, all of us will be there.
Yeah, that's a good rally.
Excuse me, Chris. Interesting. I was looking through my blue beret that I got in the mail today, and I saw the Palooza.
Palooza,
So maybe I will. At least go for a few days. That looks like it's a week long, but I could at least go for a couple days.
Yeah, we'll come over the weekend. So I think it's the second. It's either the second and the third through that weekend or something. But come to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be there. And then our podcast that we just released with Antsy McLean, the Airstreamer, he is going to be performing there. We announced that on the podcast. He's going to be performing.
And that would be fun to see.
That is going to be so much fun. Yes.
Well, at the rally we hosted in Traverse City last week, Northern Michigan Airstream hosted us at their new dealership with a tour and a really nice luncheon. But Tim Maxwell from Airstream was there and did a presentation for us.
Wow.
See, why didn't you tell us that earlier when I asked you about the rally? I mean, that's like really amazing.
That's
cool
pretty big stuff.
We had campfires and it was nice. But Tim, he did a really nice talk. And I'm pretty certain he said that is the most popular model, the Flying Cloud.
Yeah.
But he didn't say what feet. Now, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But pretty certain.
So no, I think the Flying Cloud would be it too.
So where was this dealer? This was in Traverse City?
Yes, Northern Michigan Airstream dealership. And they were so welcoming, and they gave us swag for the raffles and a really great luncheon, and
that's cool.
Spent a lot of time with our group.
That is awesome.
That's really nice.
See, it just goes back to the community.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think great.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, he should. Why didn't you lead with that on that rally?
Well, campfires are nice too. Let me ask the question. I don't know that I've ever technically asked this on a podcast yet.
You're in trouble, Bill.
Because sometimes it can be one of those questions that nobody likes to pose or answer. But tell us about your truck. What'd you get for a tow vehicle? Because evidently you needed something a little bit different than what would tow a teardrop or a Caravelle, probably.
Yes, that's one of the questions you don't talk about on
Yeah,
Facebook forum
I
or
know.
coffee.
I know.
I have an F-150.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
So I'm the least mechanically inclined person. I always want to know how much is my payment and what are my color options when I'm buying something. So the truck, it works beautifully, but I don't have all the stats on it.
Yeah,
I will own up to that.
that's cool. That's no
There's
problem.
nothing wrong with that.
No, well,
You know what I say? No, I get to speak for just a second. You know what I say about that? You know, Bill, you pick out whatever color you want and whatever payment you want and get whatever you want because there is someone out there that you can pay to fix that truck. You do not have to pay. You do not have to do it yourself.
No. Well,
Yes.
what I was going to say about it was that's actually kind of a refreshing philosophy to have when it comes to Airstreaming or whatever. Is just, hey, I just got a cool truck and I hitch it up and I go and it's fine. Like you don't have to worry about all the details and the stats and all that kind of stuff. It's like
Yeah.
that's
like
kind
it.
of like one of those weights that has lifted off of you. You don't have to worry about.
Right. And it is free. Like my truck's got it. I'm going on the road. Everything will be great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. That's cool.
And this is supposed to be fun,
Yeah. Well,
so let's keep it fun.
he had to buy 40s from Detroit.
Oh,
Isn't Ford in Detroit? Am I right about that?
Yes.
yes, you're right.
All right.
We both hesitated long enough, Bill, that it made him nervous.
I said that out loud, and then I thought to myself, "Oh my gosh, what if I'm wrong?"
I mean, I joked about that at the beginning. That what was Detroit famous for?
Oh no, I knew that part.
I know you did.
Yeah.
You're good, honey.
So
what color truck is it?
It's black on black, all black.
Wow, that's really
Now, what do you mean black on black?
the interior and the exterior is both.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Black interior, no chrome.
Yeah.
Black tinted
Ooh,
windows.
I bet
And
that's a
it's
sharp looking truck.
contrast with my trailer.
Yeah, I bet so.
Sweet. Now, do you have the black stripes going down the trailer?
I do not. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when you have to go in and replace those say that 3 times fast, rub rails, I had to think about it. You could get the black ones if you wanted to.
Yeah.
We just replaced tires, but we put the silver back on.
Yeah.
But they have black and red and
yeah.
I don't know what other color, but
There's several different colors.
yeah, they're fun.
So any kind of summer type plans you got already in the works, or you didn't mention you're not going to international, or are you going to international?
I'm not doing international this year, and actually I have not been to any just yet. So I'm saving up for
Alumapalooza.
North Dakota.
Oh yeah, North Dakota. Yeah.
But this summer, next week, I'm going to Wilderness State Park. It's in the lower peninsula of Michigan, but up towards the tip.
Yeah.
So cousin, sister, and I will do some camping there. We'll be in Hocking Hills in September. We're doing a rally there. So if you're passing through.
When does like the camping season shut down up there? Like when's it not fun anymore to camp in Michigan?
You can't ask that to somebody who lives up there because they would probably be used to the weather.
Well, maybe, but they still probably are dealing with certain temperatures by a certain time, right?
Octobers have been beautiful here the past few years. And what's nice is no one's in the parks.
Oh.
So October's great. A few years ago, my sister, cousin, and I, we camped in November 7th. It was sunny and warm. It was a great time. But generally, state parks will close the end of October.
Yeah.
Is that because of the freezing for the water and stuff?
Just shutting it down.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. And when the weather changes, it changes quick.
Yeah. We were up in the UP in...
It was July.
It was July. I was going to say June. No, and it was cold at night. Like we had coats and a fire at night, but it was beautiful during the day.
Yep, it was.
Yeah.
It does cool down up there. And that is a really beautiful area too.
It is so pretty. We were boondocking on Perrault Lake.
Lake Perrault.
Peralt. Did I say it
Something
wrong?
like, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, it's a little teeny tiny lake. It's the first time that I had ever seen like thousands and thousands of leeches in the water.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
That was a
I'd
little
never
freaky.
seen that before.
Little teeny small ones.
Well, no, they were all different sizes. Little tiny ones, like little teeny tiny ones, all the way up to, well, about the size of my hand, length of my hand.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it's the first time you've ever seen like the most beautiful sky or pine trees, but you're like, no.
You weren't expecting that.
I'm like, yeah, Michigan's great, isn't it?
Oh, Michigan is wonderful.
It is.
No, it really is wonderful. What's so weird about it is that, so we travel with kayaks, and so there was another couple with us, and the guys got in the kayaks and were paddling the lake, and the girls stayed back on the shoreline. And we were just chilling and stuff, sitting on the edge in our little beachy type chairs with our feet in the water. And I kept seeing this little tiny thing crawling, in the water. I thought it was like a little stick or something. And I go to reach down and I realize it's like wiggling. And then I see a lot more of them. And then I see different sizes of them. And I'm like, okay, Lisa, get your feet out of this water. I don't know what this stuff is. We got to figure this out. And then we kind of sat there and watched them. And they were all the way up to the very shore. And it was leeches. And she's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen leeches like this. And I was like, me either. So we're backing away from the water, right? And here comes this carload of people. They get out and they literally run out into the water and start swimming. And they played for like an hour out there. And I'm like, surely to goodness, they have like leeches in places they don't need leeches. Like, what are they doing out there? Like, I watched them in awe. I couldn't believe it. And I kept waiting for them to come out of the water and start picking them off, But
that same pretty lake, when I was out in the kayak with our friend Mike over on the other shoreline, there was all these beautiful like lily pad things all around in that same lake. So it's like you got leeches on the shoreline, but then you get out in the water and it's beautiful with like the grass stuff under the water and the lily pads.
It was amazing up there.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
So wait, all the kids that rushed in the lake, they didn't rush out?
No.
We actually even a few families would come, and we noticed this very specifically.
Yes, we did.
Like around 6 o'clock, 6:30, something like that. We had, and not every day, but there was a few days we were there. People would come and they would bathe themselves in that lake,
like with shampoo and
they were
bubbles and stuff. Yeah,
they were. Yep.
It was it was okay. So Michigan is beautiful, and it was a beautiful lake, and it was fun up there. But it was entertaining to say the least. What we saw while we were up there.
It was the wilderness.
It was. Yeah, it was great.
Lots of wilderness.
There to be aware of.
I would do it all over again.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. We didn't spend enough time up there actually.
No, we were only there for about a week. We should have stayed longer, but it's okay.
Yeah, I think 2 to 3 weeks up in the UP, there's definitely a lot to see.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember the town we drove north out from the lake. We drove north through that little, I want to say Copper something, but we drove. I bet that's what it was.
Copper Harbor,
yeah. So we drove up through there, and then there was this dirt road. The road just kind of ended, but a dirt road started, and we just kept driving on that, and we kept driving, and we looked at the map, and we were coming to the edge to where the water was, and then Canada was right there. So I don't think we were supposed to be on that road. It was like a timber road or something, but we drove up in there and walked around and did some stuff. It was great.
Yeah, that's the furthest tip in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So you were right up there. Yeah.
We were way up there. Yeah. Yep. But we had a good time. I wish we could have stayed a little bit longer, but we were headed west, and that was all during the pandemic time and stuff. So wasn't a whole lot of people out and about doing too much. So
that would have been an interesting time to travel.
It was. It really was. It was kind of eerie, because there was a lot of places we went, like the beach down at South Carolina, North Myrtle Beach area that we like. It was just dead. It was desolate. The beaches were closed. There weren't any cars. And this is a hopping place, like a cruising place. People like to cruise around. And
well, it's like
stuff.
this, like spring break in this area, which was that March, April timeframe. Like that is peak time.
Beach
I mean,
time.
it's packed out that time of year, and it was a ghost town. It was really weird.
I mean, there was no one. Like for miles and miles, you didn't see people. You didn't see cars.
But
nothing.
We decided to travel that summer, and we purposely just kind of bypassed the big cities and just kind of stayed off by ourselves. And like that particular route, when we got up into the UP and then went out the west side and kind of went across Wisconsin, Minnesota, and then got out into the Dakotas and Montana. I mean, it was less people on the road, less everything.
It's how it should be.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
ideally,
yeah, it's how it should.
Yeah,
be.
that's why I like off-season camping. Early in the spring, in the fall.
Yeah.
Most people are back to their routines by then, but
yeah. I like it. Well,
we've enjoyed chatting with you. Thank you so very much for
thank you
for participating and coming on as a guest, and wonderful conversation about a lot of different things. And
we were all over the place, but we had a great time.
We did, and we can tell that you're one of those kind of guys we'd love to hang out with. Because
absolutely,
you can tell that you love Airstream. You're social. You great conversationalist. So we look forward to seeing you down the road as soon as we can.
I'll see you in September.
Yay!
Yeah, that's right.
Gonna be there. Yay!
That'll be good. That'll be awesome.
Yeah. We'll make it happen.
It was really great talking with the both of you.
Yeah.
Yep, that's good. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. We'll see you down the road.
Sounds good.
All right. So Gina, do you think maybe I could have my hair cut by him?
Stop. You know what?
Why you saying stop?
Because I thought you were going to say something else, but I think that's a great idea.
You do?
Yes. Bill may not think so, but I do. I think that would be wonderful.
Look, when he gets his mobile styling studio set up and we go hang out with him or whatever, then I'll have him cut my hair.
Okay.
And then
that's good. I don't have to do it then.
Hey,
it's the pressure.
Yeah, listener, we hope you enjoyed this episode. I know we went all over the place, chatted about a lot of different things, but
it's a roller coaster ride. You never know what we're going to do.
But that's one of the fun parts about some of these conversations is, you got a fellow Airstreamer on the other side of the microphone and just chatting about life and about how life's changed. And, obviously for Bill, he feels like the direction of his life is definitely different than what it would have been had he not got into the Airstream lifestyle. And
agreed.
That is just an awesome, awesome thing. So
it is.
We that's what we enjoy and love about our podcast, and we hope you do too. So we will see you on the next episode, and thanks for listening, and we'll see you down the road, right, Gina?
Absolutely. Thanks, you guys. Have a great day.
I'd like to take a moment to tell you about Patreon and how you can help support the Riveted with Chris and Gina podcast. Patreon is a simple, interactive way to support the people who make the content you love. There's no value that can be assigned, so you can enjoy these inspiring stories of Airstream enthusiasts from all quarters of the USA. But there are associated costs with operating the website and hosting the podcast, in addition to the large amount of time it takes to curate and edit each weekly episode. For as little as $5 a month, the equivalent of a cup of coffee or a beer, you can help the Riveted with Chris and Gina become the podcast of the Airstream community. Becoming a patron also means you will get first-to-know details, free merch, invites to special Zoom-based hangouts, and more. The link to Patreon is in this episode description. Thanks in advance for your support and love. See you down the road.